I love it. I love that intro, Cody. I love it. You got low disk space on your I'm worried about Ed's video, Cody. He's got low disk space. You see that?
Who's got low disk space?
Look at the recording button on the side there. It says low disk space.
Oh yeah, his 8 gig video took up all this space.
Yeah, well, hopefully we are able to, this is live at least on YouTube, so we just might not be able to grab the recording, but all good. Ed Getterman, welcome.
Thanks, guys.
So we were the open announcement has happened. I think they're actually they're doing it right now. Are they doing it? I don't have it pulled up.
They're doing it. I'm gonna simultaneously watch and watch.
So what is it? It's 5 burpee pull-ups and into 1 shuttle run, and then it goes up by 5 every round in the burpee pull-up.
10 shuttle runs.
Oh, 10 shuttle. And what is it? 50 feet?
Yeah, 25 down and back.
So you're doing 500 feet per round, like a 1/10 of a mile.
Sure.
That's accurate. 1 mile is 5,280 feet. So it's a 1/10 of a mile. So that's about a minute. No, a 1/10, 30 to 40 set plus turnarounds. Yeah. So
this is all the stuff they teach you in the level 4, guys. They teach you how to do.
This is next level stuff I'm doing right here in my head out loud. I'm trying to think about how many jumping or burpee pull up, how many rounds you will get. Because, what's up, Dan? Glad you wrapped up that call with Roz. Hopefully she got a promotion and a pay raise over there at Lifetime. Dan was literally just on a call with her. And we're waiting for your video submission, Dan. You're going to be our first non-CrossFit affiliate on the progression. So let's get it going. Anyway, we'll see what they put up. I just got to know what I need to beat. And luckily, what's that, Ed?
I'm just thinking out loud. What's the standard? Is it burpee jumping pull-ups? How are they going?
I didn't see the I didn't see the distance.
Yeah, I know they're measuring
6 inches.
They're measuring something
above the height.
But you can jump. It doesn't have to be a dead end.
And coincidentally, I did a 1 rep max thruster yesterday, so I have a good range, a good idea.
All right, put your number on the board. What is it?
I hit 215.
Whoa, that's great, man.
Yeah, this show is not about me yet. It's about you. But I've been very struggling to just get a little motivated with conditioning workouts in the basement these last couple weeks. And I've really gotten to like the rep scheme of 5-5, 3-3-3, 1-1-1-1-1. Like when I'm just like, I don't know what to do. I've just been hitting squats, snatches, etc. For me, I feel like I get really warmed up. And by the end, I'm hitting big numbers. So I went 135, I think all the way up to 250, like 5 at 135, 5 at 145, 3 at 1, like jumping up by 10s. And I think my last single, I believe it was 215. Yeah. Was that?
Were you doing the singles as clusters, or were you like power cleaning it and then doing a?
No, I was going to say that was out of the rack. So it'll be a little different. I don't know. I go back and forth on a heavy thruster. Sometimes I think it's easier out of a clean, so long as you receive it well. Like you have a little bit of that bounce out of it. So. All right. So let's get into this. You've got a full class recorded. You are preparing for your L4 June. What did you say? June 21st?
27th.
June 27th. Where will that be?
At Connor McDonald's gym in Belton, Texas. Bar 10 CrossFit.
Whose gym?
Connor's.
Connor who?
McDonald.
Oh, Connor McDonald. Okay. Cool. Awesome. Yeah, I know our friend Ryan Wheeler just took his level 4 Tuesday. He was on an episode of the progression, and I think he said it went pretty well. We haven't gotten the results yet, but I'm hoping, fingers crossed, he might be the first L4 crowned under these new under the new regime. I mean, not as prestigious as the old L4. We all agree on that. However,
wait, are you saying nobody's passed yet?
That's not entirely true. I know there were some betas that passed. So Katie Hayes was on our podcast and part of our crew, and she passed like the testing version of it. And I don't know. There may have been I know a few other people have taken it. I don't know if they've passed. So Ryan will be the first person I know that's taken it, and I know the result.
Okay. Well, yeah, that's why I'm doing all this, man. I was telling Cody everything. I mean, yes, I'm running the gym, but it's really most of what I'm structuring my life around for the next 6 months or whatever it is now is built toward doing everything I can to make sure I'm ready to do that, and that includes taking advantage of you guys willing to give me some, feedback and stuff.
Yeah, and I mean, for those that don't know, Ed's been a part of Affiliate U. I've seen you develop as a coach over the last year for sure. So I'm excited to see what a full class looks like. And Cody, anything before we kick this class off?
No, we're good. Let's do it.
Full disclosure, I neglected to download the streaming version of it, so hopefully it's not choppy. Cool, you want to share me?
Can I give you a kind of summary of what these folks?
Yeah, so we got
Small class.
3. Is this dude in the back doing it?
Say that again.
Is this guy in the back here going to do class 2?
No, that's one of my coaches. He's getting ready to coach.
Okay.
That's what's happening.
So it's these 3 ladies?
Yeah, and here's the deal. So this is a unique thing that's happened to me that has never happened before. So about 2 months ago, I had a group of realtors here in town, all from the same brokerage, contact me. They all wanted to start at the exact same time. They wanted to come and do CrossFit together.
You said a group of what?
Realtors, real estate agents.
Okay.
And of the 12 that started, one of them had ever even walked in the doors of a CrossFit gym. The rest of them had zero experience. And so it was just coincidentally, as I'm getting prepared for level 4, it was very challenging, but also useful because I think it's common and, there you might have a class where there's 2 or 3 new or newer people, but to have 10 people all at once who literally don't know the difference between a men's barbell and a women's barbell, it's challenging, and it challenges you to be super specific and basic and all that stuff. And so anyway, these 3 ladies, I think this is the 3rd maybe class they came to. We had a really cold spell about 2 weeks ago, and this class that I filmed, it was one of the days where it was like 30 degrees outside. So small class.
That's a heat wave.
Yeah, well, for Waco, Texas, people panic if it drops below 40. So, yeah. So anyway, that's the setup. So these 3 ladies, they've all got at this point about 2 CrossFit classes under their belts.
Cool, and they're all real estate agents.
Yes, and great people, work hard, and have gotten 1% better every day.
Love it. But it also just goes to show, like, hey, reach out to your local businesses, local people. Like, you never know who's going to bring people in. You got 12 real estate agents. So cool. And then it creates a nice little, I think the coolest thing about being an affiliate owner and creating that community is like creating that synergy and giving everyone that opportunity. Like, hey, you need a real estate agent? We got that here. You need a chiro? We got that. Massage? Got it. Drug dealer? Got it. Right? We got one of everything here. Right? No.
Stay away from the felonies.
All right. Maybe not a drug dealer, but pharmaceutical rep, I should have said.
Sure.
All right, here we go. Let's hit play. Great mic. Good volume?
Nope, I can't hear anything right now. You may want to re-add it and add the audio.
All right, here we go. This is why Cody's the pro. This is why Cody's the pro. Hold on a second. Shoot, I just did something. Stop screen. Here we go.
The top flight operation Ackerman.
I did it the right. I thought when I do this way, it doesn't do it. That's why. Chrome tab. Now it'll do it. Hold on.
So you'll do each one 3 times. So the first one, we'll do our shoulder taps. So we'll come to the top of our push-up and just rock back and forth, tapping our shoulders. Keep your butt down. If we need to go to our knees and do that, we can. We're just warming our shoulders up. The next thing we'll do is just do some air squats, okay? So round 1, we'll just do air squats. But then what we're going to use our kettlebell for is in rounds 2 and 3, we'll hold our kettlebell here in our goblet position, we call it, and do some air squats, all right? And then we'll finish up each round. Check this out. We're going to do what we call scat pulls. This is just a way to warm our shoulders up. So what you'll do for scat pulls is come over, just find a bar that you're able to jump up to. Put your hands on the bar, outside your shoulders, wrap your thumbs. We're just going to hang here, squeeze your stomach, keep your legs together and your toes pointed. And just kind of shrug your shoulders up and then back down. Okay, just like this, loosening our shoulders up. If we can't quite support our weight on the rig yet.
Ed, what could you have said better there?
Probably if we're not I know the can't is a negative. So
Working on, right?
okay.
If you're working on potentially, because again, I don't want to speak for these three women, but when I hear something like that, my mind goes to like, well, if you're too chubby to support yourself, right? Here's an option. So a couple questions before we get any further.
Yeah.
You haven't mentioned the workout yet, right? Did we not miss that, or did it just
No,
not happen?
so the way I do it is it's a little, the way I do it is, and you'll see as this unfolds, but my goal is to get people moving as quickly as possible. And so what I do is I do these things incrementally. So typically, and this was actually a different day, because typically what I'll do is at the second the class starts, I say, all right, guys, here we go. Follow me through the first round. And I'll do the first round of the primer, whatever it is, with them. I'll do the movement, then have them do it, and back and forth. Because my goal is to get people moving as quick as they can. So I don't have a bunch of people standing around. And then once we get after we do the primer, I'll brief the next thing. But I don't stand up front, and I might give a little overview. All right, guys, today we got some thrusters and some hang cleans. So we'll talk more about that workout coming up. But for now, we're going to get ready for those things,
I would tell you, simply because you're preparing for the level 4, you should get some reps in. Hey guys, here's the workout. I think what you're doing for the warm up is perfect. Like there's, that was a really small thing. Like, hey, how you phrase that. Mm-hmm. Outside of that, what you're doing is great. You're demonstrating. You're giving so far at least one scaling option. I'm glad you're going to do it. I think the scat pull is something most coaches are like, well, just hang from the bar. It's like not everyone can. So you're about to give a demo for that. You didn't demo the goblet squat, which I think you should have, considering you did the shoulder tap and now this. So just, demo everything. But I would do, hey guys, we haven't gotten to the workout. Here's the workout. Boom, 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 boom. Cool. For the warm up, here's what we're doing, right? So get used to doing it that way, because that's what the expectation will be at your level 4.
Okay, so let me ask message received. I am curious, what's the utility of spending a minute and a half or 2 minutes or whatever at the beginning of class telling them the workout and then coming back and having to retell them that after the primer? Because none of them will remember after the primer what I said to them about the workout beforehand.
I would disagree there. I would say if we do a good job at the whiteboard, now granted you have 3 very new people. So with this scenario, I think you may have to revisit it. Standard class, people that have been coming in for weeks, months, if not years, I using myself as an example, like you tell me what's happening, like I'm gonna remember it in 30. Like I'm not that dumb, right? Like so, I think it's really you're. I don't think it will get lost. Now you may have to do a quick reminder to them, but I think it's still best practice. Also,
I'm not talking about going into the full intended stimulus of the workout and all the rest of it. You're just talking about a brief. Here's what the workout's going to be. We'll talk more about it in specifics down the road or in a little bit.
No, I would still let's use an example. Hey guys, we're doing Fran today. Fran's a classic workout, 21-15-9. I want you guys all to strive to be under 7 minutes. In order to be under 7 minutes, we have to choose a weight that allows us to go unbroken on all 3 rounds of the thrusters and no more than 1 break on the pull-ups. Now, in that round of 15, life may happen to you. You may have to put that bar down, but it's not for 3 minutes. It's for a quick breath and pick it up again. This is a sprint. We'll figure out what weight is good for you during class, but I want you thinking about what that pull-up scaling option might be as we warm up.
Okay.
Boom. Cool. For the warm-up, here's what we're doing, right? So, and that's really how fast the wipe, I was buzzing through it, maybe slow it down a little bit.
Yeah, but a minute and a half. I got you.
And then it's like, cool. Now let's talk about this warm-up. We're about to do some shoulder taps. Spend a little more time because we're going into this.
Okay.
Cody, anything as we could play?
No, you covered it. That was good.
What we can do is grab a pair of these rings and just come to the end of a ring row, which we'll talk about coming up, and do the same thing. Just protract and retract. Okay? So let's do that stuff.
And knowing that these 3 ladies are pretty new, my guess is most of them are going to be on the rings anyway. So maybe just hey guys, for today, this is what we're going to do for these scat pull-ups.
Tapes?
Yeah, beach body tapes.
Talk about beach body?
Problem number 1. Okay.
Anyways, I hurt my shoulder.
Okay.
It's still hurting. So hanging from
So we'll talk about that.
all the way up.
You haven't gone to a doctor yet? Can you point to where it hurts? Okay. So we'll deal with this. All right, here we
Good
go.
question. Have you gone to a doctor? That's a valid
Is it okay to
question.
support your weight this way? It's hanging.
Well,
Okay,
let me say, Yeah, because a lot of people they
Stand
haven't,
by.
and there's aches and there's bumps and bruises, and
Maybe
or
what we'll
they've gone to a
try. Are
doctor,
you talking about the rings?
but they neglect to tell you, yeah, he said don't
If
ever
you-
do this
Okay,
unless
we'll
you ask.
try
Yeah.
that. And if that doesn't work, okay. If you, we'll try the rings, and if that doesn't work, we've got another option.
That's exactly what I would have been. Let's check the rings. You're telling me it's this with full body weight. We're gonna be in this plane. It's gonna be less
All right,
body
10
weight.
seconds. So the
Let's
first
check
thing,
it.
again,
As soon as
20
it hurts, we do
seconds
something
of
else.
each movement,
What would you have
shoulder
gone to, or
taps.
what do you potentially go to?
So if I'm trying to warm up their shoulders and she cannot hold her body weight at the end of a ring row, what I might do is grab a couple of light dumbbells and just have her do some shoulder shrugs, or maybe something with a band, just something to move the shoulder around.
Yeah, I think that's a fantastic solution, and I also think, a lot of times it's like this hurt, but she may be doing it wrong. Like, so I think it's hey, I got you. Let's not jump to any conclusions yet, but let's we'll check it out when we get there.
The other thing I've really learned with these folks is, the greatest adaptation is between the ears quote. Yeah, it's really come into clarity with me with these folks, because what happens with a lot of folks who have either zero athletic experience, like really ever, or it's been a long time. The second they experience discomfort, which was what we're looking for, intensity, their body interprets that as, oh no. And you have to start to educate them a little bit on, it's okay. You're just working hard. You're not hurt. It's hard,
That's really very true, right? And especially like certain body parts, like my back hurts. I'm like, no, we deadlifted. You're a little sore, and that's okay.
Yeah, it's okay.
Right? Did we have a time lapse? Did you see that, Cody? Was there like a time lapse for a second? Or is it what camera are you using to film this? A GoPro?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's because you stood still. What is it? This is a great, for anyone watching and wanting to be on this, take note from Ed. Great vantage point, great microphone. Even got a little watermark in the corner here. How'd you do that?
Man, I've become a iMovie expert.
Yeah, this is fantastic.
I like it.
You were fixed for 21 days. What happened on day 22?
I went to Jamaica.
This is the same girl talking about her shoulder now?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Ruined
That is a perfect encapsulation of why those things. All right, pick up your kettlebell. We're going to hold it right
Maybe
here.
on round 2, going to the goblet squat, right?
It's a great way to warm up for front squats. So let's go ahead and do our squats. Hips down and back. Go ahead, squat. Heels are staying rooted into the ground. Chests are staying up. Nice
What
neutral
microphone are you using,
spine.
Ed? Yeah,
This
one.
Rode,
Driving our
this
knees out
Rode
over-
wireless lavalier thing.
That Rode one is the best. It's a little pricier, right, Cody? That's what, like almost $200 for that one?
Yeah, the road is definitely pricier. Hey, will you pause it real quick?
Back to your scat pull.
So right there, Ed, what I just heard. Sorry, I didn't. Do you mind if I call you Ed, or is it Edward?
No, please.
All right. So right there, I heard you walking around. You were going, we're staying rooted in our heels. We're keeping our chest up. All you're doing right there is throwing out grenades. Those are just grenades. Whether or not they're positive or negative, they don't know if they're staying in their heels or not. If they are, then it needs to be directed at the person, right? And I know you're still going through the warm-up right there, but you're kind of brain dumping out onto
Yeah, that's good. Yep.
the people, and instead of just watching movement and looking to fix something. Or
This is a similar thing. Do you think to? What do they say? You shouldn't just say "good job, Karen." You should say "good." I like the movement of that squat, Karen. Or comment on something specific, and don't just cheerlead.
Yep.
Yeah, so one thing I always say is like you wouldn't walk around your class saying bad.
Is that what you say?
That sucks.
No, that's a Cody thing that I did actually post on Instagram because Dan, our one watcher currently, was really enjoyed that. And Cody, I think that's a phenomenal pickup. Here's what I see that a lot, and I'm gonna hit play just so we keep this class moving. I see that a lot in the sense where it's like, oh, I'm coaching, and like Cody said, no, you're just throwing stuff out there, right? Now, valid stuff. I think it's okay once, hey guys, on this side, I want you to really think about weight in the heels. Cool. Now your job as the coach is to actually check, are they doing it? I see that a lot when I go to classes, newer, not only newer coaches, but experienced. It's like, all right, guys, we're bracing our midline. And it's like, maybe they are, maybe they aren't. That's what we're looking for. So good feedback on that, Cody.
Nice flat back.
More of that, right? This is the same thing. Like
butts. Never a bad idea to squeeze your
Yeah,
butt.
saying that once is cool, but then it's like, hey, girl in gray, like squeeze your butt more. This girl, drop your hips, right? So it's say it if you want, but then follow through with it.
Good.
A lot of the times we're just trying to fill
Okay, goblet
fill some
squats
dead
again.
air,
This time,
right?
let's see
That's
if we
100%.
can add a
I
few
need to say
reps to
something.
however many we
Maybe
did
you
last
do,
time,
maybe you
okay?
don't.
So just pick up the pace just a little
Correct.
bit. 3, 2, 1, go. Good. Good squats. Drive your knees out really hard when you stand up. Good. Nary, don't widen your feet. There you go. Right there. Just like that. Just push your knees out when you stand up.
Is your music sped up, or
Yeah,
does it sound? Or is this really music?
Okay.
I
good.
can't hear them.
Last time on our scat pulls. Go
You don't
ahead
hear
and
it's
do
like sounds like the
scat pull
Chipmunks.
Position.
I think that's real music. Cody would know. He listens to 8-bit. Is that right? I know you do.
Scat pull.
Well, that girl's doing a good job of that scat pull-up. So
10 seconds.
so far, I believe it's this girl in these front rings. Her shoulders held up all right.
Yeah, and she's again. I think this is a good example
Okay.
of
All right.
she's
You
learning
guys can do
that
me a favor.
I'm not hurt. You know.
Go ahead and
Agreed.
keep those
I
kettlebells
think
out.
you
We
did a
might
really
get
nice
better.
job
For now,
handling
just
it.
grab a PVC pipe and then come back.
So here's something I just wanted to go back to our conversation earlier as they're doing this. Until now, these girls are chill, but you will have some women, men and women alike, that are like, I'm so stressed out because there's a workout on the board. I don't know what it is. I've never done a thruster. I've never done this or that. And all they're thinking about is that. So that's part of the value in like, hey, here's what it's happening. I got you covered, just like you did for that injury. Like, I'm here. I'm going to make sure you're good. Let's talk about it, but just know you're going to be good. And I think that's a lot of the value in because you're not the only one. And, you know, for the record, Ed, your affiliate, do what you want, do what you prefer, 100%. I don't think there's anything wrong with this method. But I will tell you, if you do this at the level 4, I don't think that it's a pass fail. I think it's a why'd you do that instead of this tried and true method.
Okay.
Expansion.
I also think there's some value to like when you demonstrate a movement. If somebody doesn't know what a thruster is, and then you demonstrate it because you're going through the whiteboard brief, you demonstrate what a thruster looks like. Now that girl can immediately speak up and go, "Oh, hey, actually, like I've got this thing going on in my shoulder, and I can't go overhead." Whereas if you just launch right into a warm up that maybe doesn't have her doing any thrusters, okay, she's moving around or whatnot, but now the injury doesn't get brought up until 10 minutes into class or 12 minutes into class.
Yeah, spot on, right? Or like you said, she doesn't even know that she can't do that movement this whole time. And then all of a sudden you're in a rush to figure out what she can do moments before she starts.
Yeah, good call.
Push press without anything in our hands. Then we'll grab our PVC pipe and pretend like it's a barbell, and then we'll maybe add a little bit of loading. And I'm going to show you an option we can do with dumbbells instead if we need to go from barbells to dumbbells. So when we're doing pressing movements over our head, we can either just press barbells overhead, which we call the strict press. Today, what we're going to do is the push press, which is when we get our hips involved a little bit, okay? So we use our bigger muscles to help us accelerate the barbell overhead. So what we'll do is start off by just making sure our feet are under our hips. This is good. Actually, I think, there you go. So just feet on our hips, perfect. So another way we can, so we always have a jumping position and a landing position. A really easy way to figure out where should my feet be when I'm lifting weights is I'll just hop up and down a few times and then stop. Hop up and down, there you go. Stop. Yeah, good. So that where you kind of naturally land, this is your jumping position where your body
was a
naturally
little
goes
wide.
to,
Yeah, she
like jumps and things like that.
is she was here this morning. This is something she
Pretend
wants
like
to
I'm holding a
and
barbell
one thing
in
I've
my
learned
hands,
is people don't know where
What
their
I want
hips
you to
are.
do is I'm going to say
It's weird. Like
all I
people
want you
don't
to
know
do
where their
is
hips
pretend
are.
like there's a
Very
weight.
true.
You're leaning up against
That's
the
why
wall.
what you did is a great drill,
So
because it has nothing to do with knowing where your hips are. It's just jump up and down.
knees out over your
But
toes and
the
pull.
pitfall is you
Come
do
around
get
and
some
shift
people
your
like
position
that
out.
go wider, which is
Okay,
fine.
so
Yeah, but you can see she's got a little knee valgus, right? So she's naturally her hip sockets are a little bit, maybe a little bit wider, and so her because of her knee valgus, her feet end up a little bit wider, I think. But anyway, yeah.
And you can see this girl might even be a little narrow. It's close.
Do that again.
But again, if this were you know her, but imagine, you know, we have to look at this through the lens of you're showing up at a level 4. I don't know these people. I'd probably walk up to her and be like, cool, like, hey, mirror my feet, or take that, leave your right foot, take your left foot in 2 inches, right? So
Okay, recover.
One of my
You're-
favorite was Chuck Carswell at my level 2. He said, take one foot, put it behind the other, and then pivot. And wherever your feet are, or that's your hip width stance.
Oh, that's pretty good. I like that. I've never heard that before.
And we'll do that a few times, and I'm going to correct you as you move. Okay? So I'm going to stand over here to the side. Okay? Go. Boom, boom. Danny, that was good. Lucy, let's lean back. This
So you're going through I imagine there's push pressing in the workout.
Good. Okay, so relax.
I think the drill you're doing is fine. Here's my question to you, Ed. Did you purposely, is it purposely or purposefully? I can't remember. Did you on purpose not do the level 1 progression?
When I go to drive, where's the barbell going to go?
Well, I mean, the dip and hold, dip, drive slow, dip, drive fast. I mean, that's what I'm doing.
The barbell goes up. Okay? So let's do this.
Yes.
I want you to think about it. You might feel like you're.
I don't think they're holding it. So I would say I haven't seen a dip and hold.
I did. Yeah, I think we were chatting when I did.
You're chatting? Okay, so cool on that. Okay, then follow-up would be you would be holding the PVC for the push press progression.
Well, so we did the dip and hold, and now they're doing the dip drive slow, dip drive fast without the PVC. But you think I should have had the PVC by now?
So we're going to do the same thing.
In the level 1, yes. If you're doing a level 1 progression, it's all with PVC.
Our hands are going to be outside our shoulders.
Not again. I hope whether it's you or the people watching this take from this, there's no right or wrong. Ultimately, it's right or wrong if your members are moving well. My point being, the level 1 progression, you're absolutely right. Dip and hold, dip drive slow, dip drive at speed. The only difference being all of them have PVC in hand.
This is better. Recover. Again, elbows in front of your barbell. Bring your elbows.
Because this is a perfect example of why we're now finding this out while she's moving. We would have had 10 reps already to look at that rack position on this girl. She is very wide.
Yeah, I think I ended up correcting that. If not, I shouldn't. Let's see.
What's that?
I think I ended up correcting them. If I didn't, I should have.
All right. And I'll give you one other thing too. You know, like you said, you wanted us to help prepare you for this thing.
Yeah.
So you're walking around doing a whole lot of coaching with a giant staff in your hand.
Fair.
Right. I've seen you a couple times there, like you tried to prop it up with your neck so you could like do this. You got to do it, right? Like demo when it's time to demo, and then put it down when it's time to coach.
That's good. You know what? I think the reason I had it in my hands, and sometimes because I use it I do the cue where for people who are having a hard time with the bar path, I hold it up, you know, and so I use it for the guideline. You know what I'm talking about?
I understand.
Yeah, no, I do think like certain movements like this, cool. I agree. I mean, I stand by Cody. Like, cool. If you find like, don't preemptively assume you're going to need it.
Carry it around. Only get it if you need it. Yeah, I get it.
Let me tell you this, and this is for everyone watching. This is super common. Right here, what's happening is this girl is getting so these two, whether intended or not, have stopped moving. I would imagine, again, I've never assessed a level 4, but my assumption would be if this happens in a class you're coaching, it's noted as a bad thing.
Say that again.
Watch what's going on. I think it kind of stopped there. This girl on the far right was getting 100% of your attention, right? These two were getting, I wouldn't even say neglected, but they realized like, okay, he's focused over there. She was doing multiple reps. What we should have been doing was, how can I be fixing her while keeping these two people engaged and moving? And that's cool. So again, but a lot of that goes back to the early, hey guys, dip. You would have seen all of those faults in her in that dip, because that's really where it was happening. Push your knees out. You know, they're in the static position. They're like, just cool. Work hard, you know, give them some feedback once in a while, those two. But we are focusing on her. And that's a challenge for a lot of coaches. It's like, I see something wrong here. How do I get her better while keeping everyone moving?
Do you think there's a point where I'm super cognizant of that? And one of the things I tell my coaches all the time is, in a situation like this, whether you're doing the Burger warm up or whatever, don't go over and spend too much time giving a private lesson to one person while everybody else is standing around. But it is okay. So maybe at some point you realize like, that is what I'm doing. So I need to break from this and just remember to come back to her later when everybody else is warming up or whatever.
I think it's a balance of that. Yes. There's only so much coaching someone is receptive to. We were on a client call with Joby and Tanya this morning, And it was like, how much coaching can someone get? Well, that's unique to every individual, and that is unique to every day, right? So it's like relative intensity. It's physical and psychological. Now, I don't think she was at that point. I think the struggle is more often, how do I help that girl while keeping, I mean, 2 people is a low number, but there are times I know I've seen your classes of 8 to 12. So it's
Yep.
like, how do I help that girl? And that's static the answer to that. Like dip, cool. I can be giving her that tactile cue on her knees, but still looking around at 7, 10 other people.
Yep.
And that's partly also going, adding one layer to that is how are they set up? Well, they're set up in a line of, I remember we talked about this even on one of your calls when we were deadlifting, right? And I'm like, if they're set up in a way where the group goes all the way down to the other end and they can't even hear me, that's a challenge, right? 3 people, they all know you're there. You add 4 more and it's like someone's 20 feet away now. So making sure we're smart in the setup of it.
Yep.
And as far as your demo goes, right there, I just seen you demo a front squat, and it looked like maybe you were talking about keeping your elbows up and flat back, and then you kind of demoed like a hunched or rounded back. I would tell you, try to give 2 different angles. Right, you're dead on with these people. Turn to the side as well, and give them another couple of reps. That way, if you're going to exaggerate and show them, hey, this is what a hunchback looks like, I don't want to see that, then they need to see it from the side.
Yeah. 100%. And it actually gives me a cause to ask, what do you guys think about? So, there's the thing that we say, monkey see, monkey do, show them what you want, not what you don't want. Right. But I struggle sometimes with, I think there is value in showing the negative, because some people, they are, do you know what I mean? Like so what I was actually showing was, here's why we keep our elbows up. Because if our elbows drop, the barbell drops. If the barbell comes down our shoulders, our chest is going to fall forward. So, it's like, where is the line between because I think there's value in saying, this is not what I want. This is what I want. This is the opposite of that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I think that's different. I think, like Cody, you were asking, like, there's a difference between here's what I want, don't do X, Y, and Z things, versus here's what I want, here's why I want it. That's teaching, that's education. Now, should you be doing that for every movement all the time? No. For a front squat once in a while, sure. Like, remember, ultimately, I don't care that your members understand the front squat. I care that they do it well.
Right.
Right? Now, that's still, we want to sprinkle on some education here. So I think that's value. To Cody's point, though, that point is only made clear if you're at the right angle.
Yep.
But
and
yeah,
and I personally like to end on the positive, right? Just like you said, monkey see, monkey do. If the last thing if they see me do is a bad movement, that's what's in their brain. So maybe you start with, if you're going to do that, you're going to educate. You start with, we don't want to see this. I want you to drive your elbows up because it helps you look like this. And now you show the positive. Now we're going to move forward with that image in my head.
And then we're going to spend some time warming up and making sure we're set up for what we're going to do today.
I mean, let's, in every class, we do like to point out some positives. I mean, you've not stopped coaching, not stopped moving. Like, and, to me personally, I'll take a class of 16/3 any day. So, like, you're keeping the energy relatively high for a 3-person class where we've only touched rings and PVC so far.
Oh yeah, I mean, I was going to mention it earlier. I was like, this is really good for a 3-person class. I know a lot of coaches who would have checked out immediately.
Yeah. Where's the coffee?
Separated by 3 minutes of rest. Okay? So the things you're going to do today are, and this is where we're going to kind of dial it in. This is where the art kind of comes in.
You're doing the workout now, right?
What of this is best for you. So we're going to do somewhere in the neighborhood of 8 to 10 ring rows, which is what you just did. Then we're going to do, everybody's going to do 10 push presses, which is the thing we did where we dipped and drive. And so the decision we'll have to make here is, well, I'll actually address that in a second. Then what we'll do is,
how much weight, right?
the last thing we'll do each round is a set of front squats, either with our a kettlebell like we did in the warm-up, or with a barbell in our front rack, okay? Just like we did in the warming up there a second ago. So the questions we have to ask ourselves are, first of all, my priority is, so we want to finish this in under 25 minutes. Minus our 3 minutes of rest, that's 22 total minutes. That's 11 minutes per 5 rounds. That should be plenty of time. As long as we're staying at about 2 minutes a round, you're good. Okay, and I don't even think it should take you that long. Another thing that I'm thinking about is when I'm deciding the weights, I want you, once you start a set, I want you to be able to do them without having to put the barbell or the dumbbells down. So it doesn't need to be so heavy that you have to do 5 push presses, put the barbell down, rest, and then do 5 more. It needs to be 10 challenging but doable reps the whole way through. The same thing for the front squats, okay? So ring rows, same thing for the ring rows. So I want you to be able to do 8 to 10 ring rows, pretty much unbroken, we say, each round.
What was
right?
its programmed
So
as? 8 to 10 or a specific
dial
number?
that stuff in.
Well,
and what we'll do is we'll do a quick practice round so that you can make sure.
Yeah. So if I remember correctly, it said 8 to 10, and what I'm guiding them toward is if you can do 8 unbroken, but 10 means you have to do them in 2 sets of 5, then I want you to do 8.
With dumbbells instead of a barbell.
Yeah.
What you would do is,
And then you didn't expect them to go unbroken, push press into front squat, but just
No, right. I was once they start the set of the movement, the weight.
what was it prescribed as?
I don't. It's in the instructions there. I don't really. So the way we do it is, especially with these people who are newer, what I've learned is they don't know what 95 pounds is. They don't know what 65 pounds is, right? And so by giving them more instruction, this should be on a. You know, it's interesting. I was reading the thing that Coach B was talking about rate of procedure exertion yesterday, saying somebody who's never done this before doesn't know what 65 pounds feels like for 15 minutes or whatever. You should feel like you're working at 80% of your effort. And so now we're going to go through and we're going to get warmed up, and I'm going to help you figure out what that is. But to say to her, the prescribed weight is 65 pounds, she doesn't know. You know what I mean? Like, I don't even know.
I think that's fair. I think that's fair. I mean, I think you, again, knowing you're preparing for your level 4, get in the habit of having a weight that's RX and getting people to understand.
No, we have it. Just to be clear, we do have it. It is on the board. You can't see it. But I mean, for these people who are brand new, they need more hand holding in terms of finding. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I think that's fair. And I think it's good that you know your class.
And then the dumbbells, the 10s maybe end up being pretty
Why
good.
is she using dumbbells?
She had
what would actually do
this
is before you jump
thing,
straight to
or
big
I don't
five
remember
on,
something,
let's do a
or
few
it might have
reps,
also just been,
load carefully
you know,
deliberately. So do
a
few
15
reps of each
pound
of those things. The push presses and
training
front
bar
squats
wasn't
here.
suitable for her yet that day.
Yeah, she was the one.
Either way, yeah.
Something was tight.
Yeah.
So we'll just start warming up, and I'll check you guys out.
Oh, you know what?
That's right.
Wait, here, I know what it is.
Go through
I
a few
remember.
reps and see how
She
we
was
feel
challenged by
while
getting the
loading in.
barbell onto her
Remember, as
shoulders.
we're doing these
Yeah.
reps,
So I
Which-
don't want her doing a bunch of push presses,
Stand up
just
nice and
holding this
strong.
barbell way out in front of her
Bend your
because she
knees.
can't get it into her rack, you know?
Don't leave bend your knees. Now
Yeah.
watch this. Just dip and then boom. That's a push press. Good. So if you're using a barbell, you're not going to do a goblet squat. You're going to keep your barbell here and do your
Man, I've coached this class before.
So let me
Push
watch
press,
you
we've
guys.
never done it. We literally just went over that for 10 minutes. This is giving me anxiety. This girl,
Lean back, drive your hips forward.
this girl
I'm
keeps
a lot-
wanting to do a push jerk. She's
I'm
doing
a
like
lot
a buster jerk. Yeah.
I'm a lot more patient than I was 10 years ago, I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
You should be like,
You're a lot more patient than you
baby
look.
dip,
How about
just
that,
boom,
Ed?
boom. Okay. So dip 2 inches down.
Say that. I
Watch
don't,
this. Hold on.
yeah.
It's the head. It's the hair.
I guess.
Go.
Lack of.
That's better. Now go. Explode.
She's getting better with
your
it.
knees.
I
That was
think
good
with her
otherwise.
knees, again, it's that width. We got to take her feet
I
in.
think you're going to
Yeah,
do great
she's
here.
predisposed to
just
start.
gotta
And
make
you know
sure
what I
the
actually
plantar
did? It wasn't in this class, or maybe I actually ended up doing it in this class. I did the
Yep.
deal where I got 2.5 pound plates out
was your
and
best
put
one.
them
Good.
where I want
Okay,
them
that's
to
good.
be. And I
That's
had
good.
to put your feet here
Your
every
feet a
single
little
time.
bit.
Yep.
This. Widen your hands a little bit. Okay. So just dip and hold for me for a second. Okay, good. Lean back. There, that's good. Now drive straight up overhead.
So
Boom,
feedback
that's
would be,
Yes. Good. 2 more.
look, no matter how well you
Back
do in the
off.
progression, things are going to
Back as
go
you dip.
off
Back as you
during
dip.
the workout.
That's good. Good.
I would have
Yes.
liked to see
Yes.
more of these
Yes,
movement
it is.
issues
So
resolved in that
it's challenging
specific
for
warm up.
these muscles
You
on the
have
backside
plenty
of
of
our body
time.
are
I
the ones
mean,
we really want to recruit.
I mean, this
So
is
I
a
try
long
to
workout. I think you said
stay
25
back
minutes, so I
here
assume you're going to get to it pretty
and focus
quickly.
my movement on them. Okay. So like if you watch
I
me,
just think we could have spent 2 or 3 more minutes there and nailed this a little differently.
Okay. But can I just ask? I mean, I'm not arguing with you. I'm asking for education purposes. What is the utility of
okay, good. Don't dip so deep.
whether I
Just
did
like
it
this.
during the specific warm up or now, which is really specific warm up part 2 because they're loading for the
Dip
workout
2
and stuff?
inches. What do you think is 2
What
inches?
difference does it make?
Right there. That. Now go.
No, I think
Boom, boom.
what I would have done is you did the PVC earlier. And then I would have been, like you said, this is basically the extended specific warm-up.
Right.
Knowing you have 3 newer people, all right, guys, grab an empty bar. We're going to keep going through this. I'm going to call out reps.
Okay.
Right? Because I guess to answer your question, here's what it is. They're all moving at different speeds right now, doing different things. So it's harder for you to coach. But if you were like, all right, guys, dip. I know exactly what I'm looking for. All 3 of them are moving at the exact same speed, the exact same movement. Even if you're like, all right, guys, full push press, dip, ready, on me, go. Cool. So it's just giving you, you're just controlling the class a little more.
Okay.
I'll get you some clips. You put those on, I'll get you clips.
What are those, 5s?
Okay. So Dania, you keep wanting to like rotate your barbell this way. Let's face, do it like.
Yeah, why does she keep doing
See how
that?
Lucy and Ashley are facing this way, and you are just going to end up awkwardly staring at Ashley the whole time. Here. Okay, so you can put your clips on. Okay.
Do you have fractional plates at the box
I
head?
need a mentor.
Are you asking me that because of the?
No, because one of your members asked you for the open.
That's a totally different.
I do. I got him in my
From
basement. I'll
needing a
bring him to the
mentor
gym.
wanting a chef.
You really? You have ones?
I got whatever the full set from Rogue is. Yeah, quarter, half, 3/4, 1.
Can I tell you something? This is totally off topic, but I ordered. I had my barbell service by Performance Ready Services, by the way. For those of you in Texas, they're great.
Maybe
And I had
the
to replace a
best,
couple. I bought
coconut
stainless
value here.
steel Rogue Ohio
All right,
bars.
let's everybody do
solid
3
stainless steel.
reps.
I want to
at
bring
this
it home
weight.
and sleep with it in my
Okay.
bed. It's so awesome.
Dude, the Ohio bar is one of the best value bar out. I mean, for a box, I mean, what are they, like $300?
Well, I got the stainless steel one, so it was not $350.
Well,
It
but
is
still, they're
absolutely
never breaking, and if they do, Rogue's got you. So
Again. Lean back.
even during this part, I'd be
Back
like,
as you dip, drive those
ready,
forward.
go. Controlling every rep. So I have positions overhead.
See how
Hey,
good
push
this
up
is?
harder,
Gotta
pull
do
the
3
bar
front
back,
squats. You're good,
etc.
You've chosen those weights.
Okay.
You ladies, go ahead and do 3 front squats. Widen your feet to your squat stance. There you go.
Even here, down.
Yeah, I think this
Well,
Try
can I
to-
ask you a question? I think
Yeah.
maybe. Okay, again, message received. But let me ask you this: if I had more people than this, yes. But I guess what I think is, with a limited number of people, I'm better able to do more individualized stuff because there's fewer. Does that make sense? I don't necessarily feel like I have to call the reps because I'm able to. With 3 people, I can spin 3 plates at once. If it was 10 people, I wouldn't. Does that make sense?
I think it makes sense that you're saying that. I'd say there's a few things we need to consider. Ultimately, you're taking your level 4.
Yeah.
So we're looking at it the lens of like, well, what's the level 4 one?
Yep.
That's lens number 1.
Okay.
Lens number 2 is that may be the case, but I don't know that calling reps makes that worse. I think it only enhances it.
Okay.
Especially got 3 girls who are actually doing a really good job listening to you.
Right.
So they're not a great example, but sometimes you get 3 women at the 9 a.m. class and it's like they're just all over the place. And men too, right? Last thing would be ultimately, we don't know the answer to that until we see them move.
Yep.
That's ultimately, it's like fitness. Cool. Does this program work? I don't know. Am I getting fitter? Well, it's measurable, observable, and repeatable, right?
Yep.
So as we watch this, I mean, these are fine. I mean, we can argue all 3 of them might be able to make a little bit more challenging, but they're doing the range of motion, etc. Ultimately, it comes down to when they pick up this bar in a couple seconds and do push presses, are they moving? Now, with that being said, no matter how well you got them in the warm-up, I expect some, backstepping. It's going to get worse because
For
now
sure.
they're moving under intensity. But let's see.
They're doing a little practice round here, which is what's happening.
Okay, this is a practice round.
Lean back against that wall
So
behind
there you go.
back against the wall
Right here. You're going to fix it because you saw that.
Look, I'm going to keep my hand on your back the whole time. You got to keep your hand touching my back. Go.
That has nothing to do with that. That has to do with their depth. Look, there's no amount of leaning back that allows her to squat that low and keep her hand against you. You got to cut, unless she's on front squats. Am I wrong here?
Good, Lucy.
She's doing thrusters. I don't understand. What are you commenting on? No, she's doing push presses.
Right. It looks like she's doing thrusters, though. That's my point. You want her to be, you're like, hey, touch my hand.
go.
She can't. She's going too low.
She's
You have to just be like, hey, cut that depth off.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
better.
Baby dip.
You're using the
And again,
muscles
so that goes back to
explode
my
that
point.
get the barbell up.
When we're calling out reps, we see that much earlier. All right, dip, you're going because she's been going too low since the beginning.
Don't leave in those knees. Actually, good, better. A little bit lower.
Now she's not front squatting all the way down, right? So
There you go.
again,
I think she is. I think her black pants are throwing it off. I think she has.
she might be
Done one
not
round.
the best angle for it. She
Take a
may
breath.
be. You're
Round
right.
two. 4 more rounds. Good.
It's more so because she looks a little immature. It looks harder to tell, but she very well may be going below parallel.
But see, this woman's name. Her name is Ashley. She's going to be a good CrossFitter. You can tell that she moves.
One right here doing this.
Yeah, she's got a pretty good rack. I mean, that's a pretty good rack position, I think, for somebody who's done CrossFit 3 days. You know?
Yeah, I think all three of them are doing great for 3 days of CrossFit for the record.
That's better. Yes.
What, they're doing another round, or is this the workout now?
Round
I think
two.
no, they're doing. I think I had them do 2 rounds of like 3 reps of each or something, just to practice
Cool.
the transitions.
And I like what you're doing here. She was struggling for depth. Now you're giving her a marker.
Back on those dumbbells at the top. There. That's good.
She needs to be deeper
Back,
too.
Lean back as you dip. Lean back.
No, she needs to be less deep.
That's better.
Oh no!
This
Oh
girl-
yeah, you're right. She's doing push presses. I'm sorry. I thought she had gone to the front
Yes,
squats.
that was good. Again. Boom. Yes. Explosive.
See, there we fixed it. See that?
Yeah, she's getting better.
Do your push.
She's definitely getting better. Let's see this girl.
Narrow your feet. Remember, feet under our hips.
Yeah, that was the best she's been.
Good.
Yeah. You know why I know she'll be good too is
Good, Lucy.
earlier on she naturally did a push jerk
Good,
when the
Dan.
weight got heavy.
Yeah.
And that's how you can see someone's kind of athleticism.
Good explosive. Good explosive.
More people are starting to watch this, Cody. I assume the open announcement is wrapping up. Maybe we need to be aware of that next year.
Good. Good.
I
Or
blame
just next week.
the I blame the producer on that one.
You're gonna do your squats. You're like this, and you're
I blame your
not
schedule.
so you feel
Nah,
your butt
that's fair.
touch the ball. Okay.
Hey, Madison has gymnastics on Thursdays.
Fun fact: I just read the standards, and it looks like a thruster jerk is allowed.
Oh, nice.
I just had to give you a ball.
Make that 235.
Good.
Yeah, you're right, Dan.
Down. 2 rounds
HQ
down.
should have scheduled the open around us.
They know better.
What's that plate for, Ed?
You'll see.
Depth?
Yeah.
Is she going to be below parallel on that 10?
Nice flat back.
And I think this is something for anybody that watches this now or watches it later. Like, I haven't seen people use medicine balls for squats in a long time. I feel like it's something that everybody got away from as far as like trying to hit depth. They just either say that's good enough or let things slide. But like it's an old school tool. Like why wouldn't we continue to use this if somebody's not hitting depth?
Are you sure they're not in the workout right now, Ed? Because I feel like they're still going a long time.
I mean, I can't hear the.
I turned it down just because there's music and Cody. I'm sure they're in the workout now. I agree with you, Cody. And I think in a good way, Ed, I see too many coaches like grabbing it prematurely. And it's like, look, the goal is where your depth is. But for 3 people that are new and don't quite know where depth is, I think it's a fantastic tool.
Yep.
Put that down for a second. I'm gonna show you. Rest for a second. So you're gonna do what Ashley's doing. So you're just gonna scoot back. You stand like this, and you're gonna do your front squats, and you're not allowed to stand up until you feel your butt touch the ball.
There you go.
Okay. Deep breath, hips down and back.
Yeah, she was
you
hesitant,
go.
but she
That's
did
a
it.
real front squat. Yes. Knees out. Great. I think you can narrow your.
So what was it? 5 rounds, rest 3 minutes, and then another 5 rounds of the same thing?
I can't.
Good,
I,
Lucy.
think so. I can't remember.
This was 2 weeks ago. You don't remember what you coached 2 weeks
I
ago?
don't remember what I had for lunch.
Well done.
I think that's what you
Guys.
briefed it
Work
as.
Really hard.
It's in the
Good, Danielle.
video description. Hold on, I can find it.
Lean back as you dip. Yeah, that's good.
Better.
Yes, that's great. Good. All right, 3. I think you guys are all 3 rounds in. Round 4.
Yeah, that's right. 5 rounds,
4.
rest 3 twice. So 5 rounds, rest 3, 5 rounds.
I would say if I were coaching this, I would be encouraging them, as I saw each round of ring rows being successfully done with relative ease, challenging them to go out a little further, or at least for the second half. And the way I would probably do that is either
round 4.
tape, chalk on the ground, right? Because that's
Dial
sometimes
push
hard
presses
to
in, looking good.
create that.
Your feet.
A plate, like you said earlier, for their
Copy that,
feet,
actually.
right? Hey, just put your feet right up against
did
this
this last
10-pound bumper.
See, watch.
Remember, push presses.
Yeah, good.
Toes. There.
Way better.
Ah, damn.
Her, her stance is way better.
Yes, it's great. Boom. Stay in your heels. Stay in your heels. Our power comes through driving down through our heels. Well done. Now what you do is, when you do your front squats, just move your big toe out kind of toward the edge of the plate.
Cool. Good reference.
You know what I mean?
So it doesn't mess her up. This girl's doing a great job still getting to that ball.
Here, you do that. I'll move your ball up to your butt. There you go. There you go. Now go. There, good. Nice. Smooth reps, smooth reps. Always want to show control. Good, Lucy.
You know, and I think what you're doing, walking around, giving some things to consider, talking about, totally good. What I would want is just to really
patient, boom. Patient with
do what you're doing now, more coaching in there, but throwing out some like things to consider. That's always good at this point now, because now we're in the workout. It's different than it was earlier. Now it's like just throwing out some reminders. You know, drive through your heels, do this. What you're doing there is fine. Did we lose Cody, by the way?
Yeah,
He
you
gone?
tired of us apparently.
He left.
Good work today. Good work. Round 5.
Yep, good job there.
Sit down and pretend like there's a chair behind
There
you.
we go.
That's better, yeah. Stand all the way up.
So, and that's such a great example. So many people, they see someone like her moving, and it's like, oh, she can't get below parallel. She can get below parallel. The girl's 20-something years old. Of course she can get below parallel, right? Unless there's an injury. So you did a good job, like, approaching her and being like, hey, nope, lower than that. How come for these two you gave them a ball where you haven't given her one yet?
I think it was because Lucy was able to. She just needed encouragement to get there. The other two ladies more needed help just finding the depth.
Understanding it, yeah.
That's right. It's a
awareness versus
body
versus coach. Yeah, I think that's good, and it's good that you can distinguish that.
Because you're predisposed.
Because I think, you know, going back to what Cody said, I think it's a great tool, but as a coach, it shouldn't be a crutch. It shouldn't be like, somebody's struggling to get below parallel, give them a ball, right? A ball should be a tool, and a tool is, you know, sometimes a wrench is the right tool, sometimes a hammer is.
And you have 3 minutes of rest. Good, Dania.
So this girl's done.
Yeah, so she's resting her 3 minutes. And these ladies are almost they're in their last round before their 3 minutes of rest.
Yeah, so ultimately what that means to me is good job with the whiteboard. When you did do a good job. For the record, we didn't kind of cover it. You did a really good job explaining the stimulus, you know, as far as like 8 to 10. I think the only thing I would have said differently is like 8 to 10 is cool. I don't know how many, I've not counted anyone. Oftentimes like, 8 to 10, I'll do 8. Like, no, it's 10 ring rows. There's so much room to make these easier or harder. Like, set yourself up in a position that allows for 10. Then it's 10 push press, 10 front squat. And I think what you did a great job on there was, hey, these need to be unbroken. I think the only actual downfall to that is many times we're seeing it here, and then in general with newer people, when you say that, they go super light.
Yeah, you have to, and a lot of times what I'll say is, that's kind of why I said challenging but unbroken, but it's like,
they don't know what that is yet.
I'm not giving you approval to make it so easy that you're not even breathing hard.
Yeah, it's like you heard unbroken, you didn't hear challenging. Right? But at the same time, 3 days in, they don't know what challenging is yet. So anything, you know, and the truth is, I'd rather see them moving at this pace, leaving class feeling successful, than like, I failed. So I think ultimately it went well. I think both of them could have went a little bit heavier, but I also think that's insignificant at this point in their CrossFit journey.
That's my thing. And I'll tell you this, and I might err on the side of especially with the newer people, what I don't under any circumstances want to have happen is I don't want to wreck their confidence early on, right? Because I've got to get them to come back for, depending on the person, 3 to 6 months for the hook is set, and they'll come back and be fit for the rest of their lives. And if I do something early on, then that's on me. And so I would rather, especially early on when this is their fourth, fifth class or whatever. Listen, man, I just want them moving around and be happy when they leave. I want them to be happy when they leave, because if they're not happy, they won't come back.
Yeah. And I think with that being said, you're nailing that on this class. Like, I think all of them are going to leave like, oh man, I got better because Ed coached me. I did what he asked me to do, and I did it well.
Yep.
So, and when we talk truly, when you look at adaptation, they're like, this is more than they've ever done. They're getting the appropriate adaptation, whether they have 5s or 10s on there is insignificant. So, I would always, and I don't think that's a new person thing. I think that's just a person thing. Like, err on the side of confidence and success. Like, yeah, once in a while, dangle a carrot and let people fail to show them there's more to be gained by this, whether it's a movement, a weight, etc. But if you're ever unsure, I would err on the side of like, let's make it the best hour of your day.
Yeah, it's just one day, and I can walk them into finding what their relative intensity really is, and that's I think for some people, the mental adaptation, that is a weeks long thing. It's like bike intervals. If I say to somebody, I want you to bike for 20 seconds as hard as you possibly can, there's a lot of people who don't know what as hard as they can means.
Yeah. But that's why, hey, Cody, you're no longer needed on this show. We're good. You've been fired. No, and Ed, I think that's, to me, that's why I always tell people, like, CrossFit only gets harder.
Yeah.
Right? People are like, when's it get easier? Oh, it never does, because you get better. And not only do you get better, you have a better understanding of it. Yeah. Right? Like, I know what max effort on an assault bike or a rower or burpees feels like. And I know what it takes to go harder than that now. I will say, you're getting them to move better.
Guys are doing great.
Big picture, we talk about like, hey, the goal for you is to, what can I do to pass this level 4? Get them moving better like this way earlier on.
Okay.
You're getting there. I think more of this could have happened. So if we're looking at a timeline, 0 to 60, I didn't write this down. They're probably going to finish at about like 48. So there's going to be a few minutes at the end here. Do you do a cool down?
Yes.
Yeah. So the cool down is going to be there. The workout was closer to maybe 20 minutes than 25, mostly because they went lighter, but I think that's totally cool. And so let's earmark 30 minutes, right? At 30, we should be starting this workout accordingly. Your general warm-up was good. The 3 rounds where they progressed through the air squats. He's leaving? He's out of here? Somebody's at the door?
He's out.
He's out. I offended him.
I'm sorry, I'm coming back. We'll just do.
Keep talking. Well, hopefully he can hear, but if not, the listeners can.
I'm sorry. Here I am. Sorry.
So I was saying the general warm-up was good. I think you had more time in that specific warm-up, and I would have just called out more reps, and I would have just helped them. All right, guys, grab an empty bar. Cool, let's put 5s on there. I'm going to call out 5 more. Let's put 10s on there, right? You're going to give them confidence. You're going to be calling them out. And by the time they started, they would have been moving where you want them to be moving versus having to figure a lot of it out during the workout. But I will say, like, this girl, way better. She's not going nearly as low. Again, hard angle. Looks like a tiny bit of forward inclination, but it's not the best angle to see it. This girl's moving way better, as is this woman here in the gray with dumbbells. So I think ultimately you got there from a level 4 assessment perspective. I think the question would have been like, why didn't we get there earlier on?
Okay.
And I also want to just clarify too, right? Like, I know we're talking a lot to Ed about why we're pointing out some of these things to try to pass a level 4, but ultimately, right? Like the goal is to take that practice, and if you earn that credential, and every class from then on is just like you were preparing for your level 4. You don't just earn the credential and then stop, right? Like, you're learning how to be a better coach. You're going to go take the level 4 in hopes that you pass that thing, but then in the process too, like, every class is getting better and better and better.
Yeah, and I think you're going to make you're going to see big improvements by doing this. So, again, takeaways for you, Ed, as you're getting ready, do some practice whiteboard briefs. Practice that way. Just, I also think as an affiliate owner, sometimes we're like, oh no, this is the way my affiliate likes it and needs it. It's like, or we've just never tried a different way. See if that works.
I mean, I'll tell you where I started doing that from. I used to do okay. So again, I got you. I will do that.
No, I know you do. Yeah.
And I saw another, I won't even say the person's name because I know the reaction, but anyway, I just saw, I don't like it when I walk into a gym and the coach spends like 8 minutes just droning on and on and on. And so I'm like, dude, I want people to get moving. And I just started doing it because to me, it's like from the second there's very little downtime and we're working, and so anyway, that's why I started doing it. Cause I just am like, let me just get people going, and why not go ahead and just I hear what you're saying and it's totally all valid. I'm just saying the reason I started doing it is because, man, at 4:30, we're going to start and then I'll talk as we go and when I need to talk, but at 4:30 we're moving.
Yeah, I think, I can hear Fern saying this in my head where it's like someone doing it wrong doesn't mean you shouldn't be doing it, right? Like an 8-minute whiteboard brief is wrong. So if we're changing the way we structure our class because of that, that's on us. Like a solid whiteboard brief is 3 minutes, right? Yep. And for the record, like you go 3 minutes, you just broke it up into a couple parts.
Yeah.
And I would argue having these 3 girls listened very well, and it was only 3 people. If this were a class of 8, all right, guys, bring it back in. There's going to be some leakage of time in there.
Yep.
So
yeah, I've definitely done it your way too. And, if I'm being honest, like with 3 people, I probably would have done the same thing, right? I would have been like, yeah, like let's get this party started. Let's get moving right now. But like Jay said, with 8, 10, 12, I've coached classes of 30 plus. That's really hard to wrangle people back in. You basically have one shot to get their attention. And it's usually at the beginning before things have started happening.
And so you don't think there's in a class, let's say a fictional class of 10 people where maybe 3 of them have less than 2 months of experience. There's not a danger of, okay, the specific warm-up is over. We're going to get ready for the workout. Those 3 new people being like, dude, I totally forgot what he said the workout is, or wait, what's the thing? Or, you know what I mean?
I think
even if that does happen, you go back to them individually and remind them, I guess.
I think, first of all, Corey Leonard, don't come on here after watching the open announcement and try to pretend like you've been here the whole time. I see what you're doing. I know you weren't here, Corey. So you know what? I want you to stop watching. You're not allowed to watch this episode, Corey. Go watch the CrossFit Games. No watching any more Best Hour today. You can come back tomorrow for the hot seat. Now, Ed, to answer your question, I think anything is possible inside the walls of an affiliate. But also, we shouldn't be worried. It's like Cody talked about earlier. Do we show what could go wrong, or do we just do it the right way?
Yeah, just because it might happen doesn't mean. Yeah, I got you.
Yeah. And I mean, it also depends on the workout. Like this is 3 movements, all of which you continued to cover in the warm up. Chances of them being like, oh, what was that? Like we literally just finished it.
Yeah.
So are there?
Would you handle it any different if there was the strength piece in between the,
I've never in all of these years, thousands of hours coaching, and this is probably a fault to me, deviated from a whiteboard brief at the front end.
No, but I mean, would you go into more? So, okay, whiteboard brief, 15 minutes of whatever, and then the workout. Would you wouldn't give a 60-second mini whiteboard brief reminder?
Yeah, sure. I might revisit it quickly. Hey guys, don't forget, it depends. It would depend on a couple things. It would depend on how long was that strength piece, and was it a different movement than we're hitting? If, for example, if on the front end of this, you did hey, in 12 minutes, we're going to build up to a heavy push press, maybe not. If it's hey, we're going to snatch, then we're going to this, I might be like, hey guys, don't forget, Here's what a push, and again, that's knowing your audience. If
But
this
for that
class
reason,
happens
do you
in
think
a
it's
year, what's that?
what do you think about for that reason, this is one of the things I think about, like, and I don't know if this is on days where you get these people that program bench press or back squat, and then in the workout there's a totally different barbell movement. I personally see that as inefficient, because
Agreed.
now I've got to coach two totally different.
100%. I agree with you. Yeah, I agree with you on that. I mean, only caveat to that would be like if the workout has an absurd amount of a movement, I don't want to like be beating a body part to death. Right. But jerks would be one, like, because it's heavy. You've gone heavy. Now it's high volume.
Yeah.
But I mean, a front squat or a push press on the front of this. I mean, me personally, in my basement, I use cap, and I usually throw in a heavy lift, whether it's there or not. Oftentimes it is, they give you some heavy lift, but I'll do just whatever it is, either before, sometimes, and I mix it up. Sometimes I do it before, sometimes I do it after.
You mean you do the movement that's in the workout, but you do a heavy day of it?
Usually I'll do, like I was telling you guys earlier, I've been doing mostly heavy stuff, but last week on a snatch day, like afterwards, I was like, cool, I'll work, and sometimes it's a single, sometimes it's a triple, but I'm like, I'm warmed up. I often go heavier post workout because I'm working out first thing in the morning. So I'm like warmed up, loosened up, and then I'm like, cool, let me go up to something heavy.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. And I know I'm cognizant of time here, so I don't.
No, we got all the time in the world. We're live on YouTube. We finally got some viewers. Corey, Matt, all these guys decided to stop watching the games and come over. But go ahead, yeah.
As I've gotten older and have been doing this longer, I see what I didn't see when I started. And when I started, I was the prototypical, we got it, primer strength metcon. And now, partially for my own training, but also because I know more, I actually don't like primer strength metcon. I want to do a good primer, a good general warm up, a good specific warm up, and then the workouts. A heavy day. I see the value in the CrossFit heavy day, because like even for me personally, I don't want to try to do a 2 RM deadlift in 15 minutes. Like, not only can I not do that, it's unsafe. I need way more time to warm up. It's no, but I can see people throw that kind of stuff in just so they can avoid having to do lesson planning and spend time.
That's exactly. It's a couple things. It's, hey, I'm not good enough of the coach. I don't feel comfortable having my athletes do what you did earlier with PVC. Yeah, he is cleaning up well, Dan. So I'm going to throw more in there, right? So like when we do multiple pieces, what's getting sacrificed every time is the coaching.
100%.
Secondly, my argument, how old are you, Ed?
That's confidential. 44.
I'm 44 as well. When's your birthday?
August.
I'm June. So I'll be 45. You'll be 45. It's like, now we're feeling it, like you said, but I would also throw out there, just because you can doesn't mean you should.
Yeah.
Right. Like,
well,
you
learn bad habits when you're younger, and
exactly.
That's right. Like, you can't do it every day in 15 minutes. You can't.
Yeah. And not only that, we talked about it with these girls, like, great job, by the way, having a cool down here that makes sense. But it's adaptation. You don't need that. Like, you don't need both. Now, here's the thing. If you don't do strength and Metcon or Metcon or strength once in a while, we fail at the margins of our experiences, right? So, look, even if you're just going to go to a fun, friendly competition, these 3 girls may very well do that one day, right? In Texas, there's plenty of local comps. If they've never done 2 workouts in a day, it's going to be like a big deal. Like, they're going to feel it, right? So my point would be like, hey, if my box were open, it would be open 6 days a week. I would close on Sundays, not because I'm religious, because I think everyone deserves a day off. I'd probably have 24-hour access so people can still come in. I'd be charging for that 24-hour access. It would be only for members. So they'd be able to come in 7 days a week. I would say of those 6 days of programming, 3 would be one, whether heavy or Metcon. 2 would be 2, and 1 might be a long day or a floater, meaning some weeks 1 thing, some weeks 2, maybe some weeks 3, right? That's variance. And I think too many people beat the drum of like strength and Metcon. Too many people beat the drum of like one workout a day. If you were to ask Glassman, who founded this thing, I think he'd say you're both wrong. And if you go back far enough to February 10th, 2001 on CrossFit.com, when the first workout was programmed, you will see everything. You will see 2 days. You will see 3-parters. You will see,
and that's why on the day, some days, don't you think? I think it's on the days where you do all 3. It's fun sometimes to do the, instead of primer strength Metcon, primer Metcon strength.
100%. I mean, look no further than today's open workout.
Yeah.
Right. Like I remember 2009-10 when I was like programming more, and then one day we were like, let's do Metcon first. People lost their mind, and then in the open it was like hit this and then work up to this. I'm like, see, and
but
again,
so, I mean, the downside of doing the strength before the Metcon is you're not going to be able to perform at the level you would in the Metcon if you hadn't done the strength piece. And so what you do is, so you're
be flipped to the other way too.
That's what I'm saying. And so you do it the other way to instead pre-fatigue for the Metcon. Now you're pre-fatiguing for the strength piece because you did the Metcon first. And
I think it goes both ways. I think, and ultimately you're looking at it from the perspective of like, all I care about is this score, which is truly, I mean, that is what we should care about, right? It's performance-based. But if you never tried, like I worked up to the heaviest snatch I've worked up to in 10 years after a snatch workout. Like at 44, I can tell you, I feel better to go heavy after a Metcon. Now, there's probably a diminishing return. 30-minute Metcon, maybe I'm a little fatigued.
Because the Metcon serves as your warm-up, right? Basically.
For the most part, right? But the balance is the balance is up here. I have to be willing to go as hard as I can here. No, like Pat Barber said this, when you do 2 workouts in a day, you're doing 2 half-assed workouts because I know there's more to do. So it's, how do I push myself? Now, partly is like, cool, we've done this workout before. I know what I did. I need to beat it. And then I know what I need to do on this lift. And that can work both ways. I think ultimately, again, some days do it before, some days do it after. Yep. I think for me, today's open workout, I'm going to feel better on a thruster. I mean, none of the movements, they're going to impact your thruster a little bit. You're running, you're turning, you're jumping, etc. But it's not heavy. Like you should be really warm and, prepared for that thruster.
Yep. That's just because you're going to go really slow on the first part, though.
That's what I would
do. I happen to be going slow. Let's give a couple. This Matt Burns, kind of throw this up here, Cody. Yeah. What do you guys like of activation? What do you guys like of activation like bands for glutes or banded shoulder prep? I mean, personally, I think it's great to activate muscles, especially for those, that could have been a great drill. Not that what you did wasn't, but like doing some glute bridges, doing some other things, doing like the, whether you have a slingshot or bands around your legs.
Yeah, we do those. I like to use for people that are struggling with, their weak posterior on their posterior side, the banded single leg glute bridges are great. And they are really, really effective. Like 2 days later, they inevitably text me and say, oh my God, my butt hurts.
Yeah. I mean, nothing gets your glutes and abductors fired up like some banded walks. And yeah, I think for a lot of newer people, especially that just don't understand, like those women specifically, like kinesthetic awareness, like, oh, that's what you want. Cool. Now, like, I bet you get that girl on the far right who was struggling with her knees to do that. She'd be like, oh, I get you now.
Yes. Well, where it's also been useful for me too is I've actually had a couple people. I have one person who I've had for a year or so, who it took me a while to figure out what was going on, but she could not do a kettlebell swing, and she couldn't sequence it. And it took me a while to figure it out. And I'm pretty good at coaching it because I'm good at coaching the hinge. I have a lot of tricks to help people learn how to hinge, and she couldn't figure it out. And I finally figured out that this woman has the weakest glutes of anybody I've seen. And what's going on is she does not she does not have the muscle tissue for hip extension. And so she's struggling to even extend her hips aggressively because she is so weak on the posterior side of her body. And so in that kind of case, low impact stuff like the banded monster walks and the banded glute bridges, really, really useful.
Agreed. Yeah. So great question there, Matt. Cody, I'm assuming you saw that comment from Aaron. No rebend. Looks like I'm about to thrust her more than you hit 215 the other day.
But look,
No rebend in that
if
215.
we're getting off in the weeds here, it's which one do you go by? Do I go by the official workout description,
Or
or
what is
do
the
I go by
alternative?
what was said in a video brief? Because the workout description doesn't say you can't rebend.
For the record, I would wait, and they usually clarify all of this before it's go time. I mean,
I
friends that
always,
used to be doing it right now. I would actually go back to what we saw in the. I didn't watch it obviously, but Roman and Pat, if they didn't rebend,
Did they
They
load
probably-
the barbells right this time?
I don't know. Well, they probably loaded it themselves for that. Corey, since you weren't here and you were watching the Open, fair weather fan, if you will, of the show, let us know. Did they rebend on that? By the way, so Cody, I do think next week we should push back an hour. So assuming you're available and I'm available and whoever our guest is, we will push back because we've got way more viewers now than we did during. So you know what we will.
I'm resting on Thursdays because I have to save up for an elite performance on Fridays. So I'm open all day. We're good.
Who are you watching do an elite performance? I know it's not you and your 2 muscle ups. So anyway, we'll probably push back an hour. Cody will post about that on social media. Ed, I know you came on to prepare for your level 4. I think overall, fantastic class. I think I would give you 2 things to really work on. Let me give you 3 things to really work on. One,
don't save any for me.
You'll have more. Oh, you want to add more? One, whiteboard brief practice. From now until June 27th, practice it no matter what.
Yep.
Secondly, I want you to spend a little more time in that specific warm-up.
Okay.
And while you're doing that, do your best to keep everyone engaged. That happens in the static positions, right? Hey, this girl in the end, dip. I'm going to be touching her knee. I don't remember the other 2 ladies' names, but like, hey, lean back a little bit. You come up a little bit higher, right? Ready and stand. Cool. Let's do it again. Keep pushing them, right? So take advantage of those static positions. What do you got, Cody? That was 2.
What did you just lose your third one?
I did actually. I was pretending like I was giving you the option, but
You have the third one.
Completely lost it.
All right. Ed, I can clearly tell that you're a smart, educated dude. And that comes
Me or
out.
Ed? You're talking to me or Ed?
Not you. Oh,
Mhm.
Ed. So my feedback to you, on top of what Jason would say, is be careful with brain dumping out on the floor. Right.
That was my third.
It's not about how much you know. The members don't necessarily care how much you know in that moment. What our goal is, how do I simplify that? How do I get them to do what all that complex stuff is going on in my brain?
You know what? I think that's totally valid, and I think it's a product of. You're right. Dead air gives me the heebie-jeebies, and I've got to become more comfortable with. It's okay sometimes for there to be dead air.
No, and
I used to say good all the time, and actually, somebody pointed this out to me. Good was my filler word, so I would just walk around going good.
Did I say that too?
And no, somebody else told me. And I might have done it in this one. I didn't notice, but so anyway, I'm focusing on not doing that. But the backfill has been, well, now I'm just saying other crap, And so, I think do you think it's okay for there just to be some, let them
but here's what I was going to say, because I think Cody's accurate about that. Here's what I would say. It's not going to be perfect. You're going to go in and coach whether today or tomorrow and do that. And what I want you to do while you're doing it, all right, guys, I'm looking for, as you catch yourself saying it, say it, accept that you just said it, and then be like, cool, that's my focus. I'm looking for that now. Right? So it's not that you can't say it. It's when Cody said it well earlier, but it's just more of a grenade. Like, hey, guys, we're looking for this. Boom. Versus like, hey, guys, I'm really thinking about weighting the heels. That's what I'm looking for. Go.
Okay.
So-and-so, wiggle your toes. And then it's like, now I've got my sole focus for those handful of reps. Cool. Because part of it is, it's not that you're saying that, it's that you're saying a lot of them too.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like, cool. Now on this next rep, we're looking for a tight core. So what I'm thinking about is pulling my ribs down. Now there's my, we just went over this concept in our coaches development group. of layering. And that's what that is, right? You use the progression to get you to the movement, which was the push press progression. Layering is getting them to understand the concepts of that movement. So, hey guys, dip. On what I'm looking for right here is that your torso is stacked, your shoulders above your hips. Boom. And now that's all you're looking for. Cool. Now we're going to dip and drive. I'm looking to make sure when you go down and up, there's no pause, or that you maintain this angle, which, there's many things you can be looking for. So what will help you with that, Ed, and then for anyone watching, is writing that down ahead. Hey, here's my lesson plan. Cool. I'm going to go through the push press progression. We're going to dip and hold. We're going to dip, drive slow. We're going to dip, drive fast. During the dip and hold, I'm going to call 7 reps. On that, I'm only looking for a vertical torso. Cool. Check. We've done that. On the dip and drive slow, I'm going to still keep an eye on that torso, but now I'm looking, does their weight stay rooted through the heels? Check, right? So, but a lot of people in their lesson plan, they're like, whiteboard brief, general warm-up, 3 rounds of this, specific warm-up, push press progression, WOD. And what really makes a lesson plan even more valuable is that, like, how many reps am I calling of each step? What am I looking for? Where am I looking on someone's body? Even more so, like, where am I standing, right? You know your box better. And that's why, in preparation for your level 4, just like Ryan did, he went to the box the day before, hit a workout, right? So, like, you need to do that. Like, if you care about passing that level 4, which everyone does, put the prep in. Like, show up early. Like, look around. Like I said to Ryan, how many bathrooms did they have? Because that might change how long the bathroom break is, right? That's how prepared we need to be. And ultimately, I mean, that's how prepared we should be for, I would hope a doctor performing surgery isn't like, done this one before. Let me just show up tomorrow, right? It's like, hey, I should probably revisit what the knee looks like, and all, so same thing. If we want to be considered professional and act professional, we need to prepare like professionals.
Yep.
Cool. You like that? That was pretty good, right, Cody?
I'm gonna have to clip it, quote it, put it on a t-shirt.
Put it on that t-shirt right after the salt shaker.
By the way, the Fern salt shaker video is it's just so self-congratulatory. I can't, I mean, it's just
Fern is self-congratulatory. How do I even say that word? You didn't love it?
Oh, I mean, it's well done, but I'm just like, of course, it's very.
You don't get that,
Like,
here's the thing. I mean, on one of our small group calls today, if anyone was there, I was referred to as brilliant. I was referred to as the more caring partner compared to Fern. And I'm also typically considered the humble one. So yeah, Fern, of course, made a black and white video, right? It had to be black and white.
Yeah, Moody.
So no, I think.
Hey, I will say this though. You're the only 2 people I know personally who have their own bobbleheads. So I told Fern the very first time I ever did my call, I was like, dude, I don't know anybody has their own bobblehead. And by the way, props on having the guts to have your own bobblehead and send it to people, man. Like, hey, good to meet you. Here's a bobblehead of myself.
That's right. I see yours right behind you.
Yeah, right up there.
That's right. So no, whether or not it came off as a little like, Fern put a lot of effort and care into that.
I'm totally.
CrossFit affiliate shared it. CrossFit shared it, right, Cody? How many views does it have? Does it have a 10 million?
I will say, I know there's not the topic of this, but the stuff that CrossFit's been doing, whoever's leading the ship, Atlanta Nicole, or whoever, the education stuff about this is why we do what we do, dude, that stuff is fantastic. I mean,
absolutely. And again, I put up something yesterday, mostly because Trish made a meme of me with my iPad. And, but it's true. Like, I think, a lot of people are like, oh, why should I affiliate? It's like HQ is doing a lot of work. And, we have to remember whether it's the new CEO in Dawn or just, things take, I think the expectation on CrossFit's end is like, cool, make those changes yesterday. And it's like, man, this is a real business. Yeah, it's about, it's a slow turn, but I can tell you that thing is turning. And once it makes that full 180 or whatever direction it's going to be, stepping on the gas, and we're already seeing it. And, as an affiliate, you should be reposting those. You should be sharing it. Those of you that hate doing social media, they want us to be sharing that. Grab them, whether it's screen record or just repost or whatever that looks like. But It doesn't matter that it's happening inside your walls. All affiliates are helping people. Like, you have someone that needs to lose 100 pounds within a 5-mile radius of you, and sharing what CrossFit made is maybe what's going to get them in there. So yeah, cool stuff. I mean, even that video, I saw it briefly before we hopped on, that woman who had breast cancer. Did she do the workout? I think she did the workout, right? Like, there's breast cancer survivors all over, right? Near you, like showcase.
Yes, great. And here's the thing too, what it fights against is, even all these years later, there are still people, and depending on the clientele, your target market or whatever, and those women in that video are fantastic humans, and that's who comes to my gym. So I don't have a bunch of 22-year-old fire breathers, but you still are dealing with I can't do CrossFit. I'm not fit enough, or it's too hard, or I don't want to take my shirt off, or I don't want to throw up or whatever. And that stuff is still around from 10 years ago. And so the videos, these are real people. It's.
Yeah, I mean, I think her name was Candace, I want to say, but I don't think that's right. From South Brooklyn, right? David Osorio's woman, who was like in her 90s. It's not Candace. I can't remember her name at this. But I mean, anyway, it's like, yeah, they're out there. And guess what? 22-year-old fire breathers don't pay the bills. They don't keep the lights on at the box. They're the ones that bitch and moan, that want you to change the programming. You want to be attracting, if I had to give you a demographic, it's like 35 plus, that has a job that allows them to just pay their membership, show up for 1 hour, 4 or 5 times a week, and have a great. Those 3 women at your box, I don't think they were in over their 30s, but that just show up and do a good job and listen to their coach. That's what we're looking for.
As cool as it is too, just for me as a coach, for a young, and I'm not. As cool as it is for me to help a 22-year-old deadlift 400 pounds or whatever. That's great. What's more fulfilling for me as a coach is to help somebody who hasn't exercised in 20 years realize that they can jump on a box, or that kind of stuff, because that's life-changing, and on a lot of levels.
Yeah, I remember it's probably about 2008-09. Coach Glassman was touring the country doing what he called CrossFit 101s at the time, and and people would ask him questions, and someone's like, "Man, Glassman, did you see that?" It was like right around the time someone did sub 2 on Fran. He's like, "Did you see that person do 157 Fran?" And Glassman goes, "I wouldn't cross the street to watch a sub 2-minute Fran." Right? But he's like, "I would cross the street to help someone learn how to air squat."
100%.
And that's what it's all about. Kudos to anyone kudos to anyone that's done Fran, right? Like, we're not diminishing that. That's not life-changing. Right. You help those girls, right? Yeah, get squat, do this, like, now we're changing their lives. We're you teach a woman or male in their 70s, my father, to get below parallel on a squat. Well, I've just saved wiping my dad's ass another 5 years, right? Because at some point, he's called, "Jason, come wipe my ass." I'm like, "Dad, I love you, but I didn't sign up for this," right?
You're crazy.
You should have been squatting. Dad.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Back to you.
Yeah, that's on you. But get yourself a bidet. Anyway, questions for us, Ed, before we wrap up?
Oh, man, I just really appreciate both you guys. Like I said, I want to tell you I appreciate this, but I also appreciate the broader stuff you guys are doing to just, educate other coaches. I'll actually tell you, I started listening when you guys started doing, I was a level 1, I think, a long time ago, when you guys started doing Best Hour for the very first time. And back then, there were a lot of people posting videos of themselves on the internet, doing thrusters or whatever, just like there are now. But there was very few people back then who were intentionally trying to educate coaches and get them better. And so, man, I really appreciate that. And because we lose too many people who take the level 1 and stop. And so bridging people over to level 2 and then hopefully trying to take a shot at the level 3, man, I really, anybody that's working on that, I value highly, for myself included. So I appreciate you guys.
Well, thank you very much for saying that. We've started this because we're passionate about this thing. That's never changed. We've evolved. We've brought on people like Cody and Marcus and Katie and Nikki and Nate and Joel, so we've grown this thing. But we go back to what Glassman says. We never did it for the money. We did it for the right reasons, for the right people. You do that long enough, money will follow. And again, it's all that passion, the same passion you have for showing up and coaching those 3 women, we have for all coaches and for affiliates out there. So appreciate that. Now, if only Fern got a little more humble along the way. I agree with you, right? His head
He
is
wouldn't be Fern. He wouldn't be Fern.
You know, we are. I mean, Cody, you know about this. We are redoing the bobbleheads to accommodate Fern's new head size. Mine's gonna stay the same. Fern's
You
is
need
gonna
to
be
have an option where for an extra $100 I can get it autographed.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't know if that might not be enough for Fern. I'll do yours for free for no charge. But anyway, those of you that are still here watching, we appreciate you. Tune into the hot seat tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Mountain Time. And also make sure you're following the Best Hour Instagram for updates on next Thursday's show, because we're probably going to push it back to accommodate Corey and Matt and all of you guys that had to watch the Open. Ed, thanks again for coming on. Everybody else, see you next week.
Perfect.